One of the most major things that DE said they were going to address in the newest Warframe dev stream was damage attenuation. And this is absolutely huge because damage attenuation is one of the most talked about issues in the community where a lot of people don't like it. Now, I'll be honest myself, I've only ever had a few issues with it. I think when I was doing Steel Path Legate Harvest or Legate Hunts in Warframe 1999, I want to say is what it's called. But that's when I had issues with it where me and a couple of my friends couldn't really kill any of the capture targets while I was streaming, or we could, it just took like a minute, or I'm sorry, not a minute, an hour of non-stop shooting the targets to actually win, and it was super annoying, and they would just heal themselves constantly. Anyway, it was like a whole mess. It was terrible. Basically, killing the targets there were terrible. But regardless of that, they are changing how damage attenuation works, which is absolutely huge because it's a good thing. And to me, it's just something not too crazy. I'm a casual player, so I don't really deal tons of damage ever. So it's not something I have to deal with too much. But I know a lot of the more veteran players, a lot of you guys that play this game a lot and love doing really good builds, and are super into like doing millions of damage, were really annoyed by this. And now a lot of you guys are going to be upset because they're not actually completely getting rid of it, but I think they're doing some pretty good modifications. So I hope that it goes well. In case you don't know what damage attenuation is, or why it exists, let's talk about why it exists first. Since people can do insane amounts of damage in Warframe with proper modding, we're talking like millions upon millions, there needed to be a way from preventing enemies meant to be super strong from being one-shot. So DE came up with damage attenuation to solve this. So difficult enemies and in-game content actually feels difficult for elite players. So what is it? Attenuation means the reduction of force, effect, or value of something. And that's exactly what it is. Formulas are put in place to judge how much damage potential and damage you can do, and then they try to lower it to an amount that will help the boss survive longer. All damage above that artificial value will be insanely nerfed, while damage below that value will be slightly buffed. Different enemies have different formulas, so it's impossible to always calculate it perfectly. Damage attenuation was squad based, and this could lead to the highest damage dealer being extremely crippled and the lowest one buffed up just a little bit. Unfortunately, when we're talking about damage attenuation, usually the weakest link of the group would get very mild buffs, while the strongest character or strongest person playing the strongest Tenno would go from dealing 10 million damage down to like 20,000 a shot and absolutely ruining them. This also kind of destroyed the need for high damage builds. For example, super high damage like sniper builds were really badly hurt by this because you're not one-shotting anything anymore. Because they literally put something in the game to prevent you from ever one-shotting any enemy that's important, like a boss. Obviously, damage attenuation doesn't exist for basic enemies. So, what are they changing to make it better? Like, what are they doing here to actually change everything? One of the first things they're changing for damage attenuation is instead of having a flat value for each individual enemy, they're actually changing damage attenuation to be based on enemies' health pools, which means that enemies with a lot more health will be able to take a lot more damage, while enemy bosses with smaller amounts of health will take a lot less damage, which will hopefully allow bullet sponge enemies to kind of disappear from the scenario. Because the amount of damage players can deal per second and per instance now scales based on the enemy's max health. So that means that you will do a lot more damage against enemies with a lot of health. And it's actually crazy to me, and not to get off topic here, that they ever had a flat value for damage attenuation, because that means the Legate and the Legate Harvest mission on Steel Path and normal had the same flat value damage attenuation. Meaning for the normal one, it's not that bad because it has such a low health amount that it's like, whatever, you have low health, we can still shred you pretty easy. But when you get to like a Steel Path Legate, which is a huge health boost, you still have the same damage attenuation going on, meaning you're dealing the same amount of damage, which is a very low amount that you deal to the standard Legate, except now it's to an enemy that has tons upon tons upon tons of health and armor. So it basically just means you do nothing, which is very unfortunate, and that's the problem that I came across when I played with some of my very sweaty friends while I was doing Legate Harvest missions when 1999 first came out. So changing it to be proportionate to the max health is actually huge, because that's going to help prevent those bullet sponge scenarios from showing up. And it's also going to make you feel like you're doing more damage, and everyone feels good when they feel like they're doing more damage. So it's going to make people happier and going to make the game hopefully a little bit better balanced, a little bit more fun, so you're not just shooting at the same enemy over and over and over again. Because a problem Warframe has with its high level content is that the high level content in Warframe isn't actually difficult. It's just that enemies have so much health, damage attenuation, and so many other things that kind of make it just like a slog fest. Like you're trying to, you're waist deep in swamp water trying to wade through it. It's not really a difficulty issue. It's like a damage issue. And that damage issue is made 10 times more complicated and difficult when you have something like damage attenuation involved. So that's why they're trying to balance it here today. And I think, once again, putting it to proportionate to max health is the step in the right direction. Another thing they're changing is the independent maximum damage per second per a player. So, as I think I mentioned earlier, that damage attenuation was squad based. Now they're removing that and making damage attenuation simply based on each individual player. So that's actually going to be very difficult. That's going to be a huge bonus, because it's going to probably allow weaker squad mates to get better values. No, I'm sorry, that's not what it's going to do. It's going to allow stronger squad mates to get better values for their damage attenuation. I mean, they're not going to be held back by their weaker squad mates anymore. And again, weaker squad mates are going to get better setup damage attenuation as well, where they might do more damage, because it's going to base how much damage they do typically. So they have low estimates, they'll probably start doing more damage as well. So basically, having it for each individual person will just make the experience better for everyone and make it more balanced, so there's not like one person getting screwed because someone on the team does a ton of damage or someone on their team does next to no damage. That's going to make sure everything kind of evens out and everyone actually ends up doing around the same damage, or, well, not around the same, but as close as you reasonably can get, which is nice. So everyone can contribute to each individual boss fight and things like that. So what they're doing for standardizing damage attenuation here is that they're actually increasing the health of a lot of enemies. And the larger health pools, once again, are going to make them take longer to kill. And it's not actually going to... It says increased difficulty here in this patch notes. But let's be honest here, guys. Large health pools don't make a game more difficult. They make a game take longer, right? It doesn't actually make it that much tougher. But because of their increased health pools, that means they're going to increase damage attenuation, which is going to allow for us to a lot more damage to enemies. So that's pretty good. And, I just want to talk about this in the first place. Warframe is all about dealing as much damage as possible and feeling good about it. So damage attenuation is a really hard thing to balance, because you want your characters to feel really strong, like their builds do matter, but at the same time you just don't want them to run through story significant enemies that are meant to be really strong. Like, we just killed every Kuva lick super easily and just destroyed it and dominated them, or Sisters of Parvos, then the game wouldn't feel, they wouldn't feel important. But because we're held back from one-shotting them, because they can have a chance to do some damage, that makes them feel like more important enemies. But at the same time, it deprives you of using your super powerful weapon in the proper way and getting those big hits that you worked hard for and built your frame for. So this is a really tough topic to discuss and a tough thing to fix. So I understand why the team's having trouble here. I hope I explained it well to you guys. I hope you guys understand what damage attenuation is. There's a lot of videos out there talking about it, but I just want to talk about the new changes, and if I think they're good or not. And I do think they're good. I think they're really positive changes that will make damage attenuation less of a problem based on what I'm reading here. And also,
attenuation.
I think I've been saying it right. Attenuation. Have I been saying it right? Close enough. I've been saying it close enough, right? I have issues pronouncing words sometimes, guys. So give me a break. I think I've said it pretty close to how it's supposed to sound. But hey, I've been putting out these videos talking about these updates a ton, guys. So I apologize for maybe a little bit lower quality editing than I normally do, but it's because I'm trying to cover everything in the update. I love just talking about Warframe and everything new they're releasing. But if you guys are enjoying my videos, if you guys enjoy my videos, in general, please like and subscribe. Most of the people watching, as every YouTuber says, aren't subscribed. I would really, really, really appreciate it, and any support you guys want to show. I love, doing this content and talking to this community. It's been really fun. It is really fun. I'm excited to make more videos in the future. So let me know what you guys think of this new update in the comments below, and just what you think they should do with damage attenuation, if you think it's a good thing, bad thing overall, and all your thoughts on that. But yeah, that's all I have for this one. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, please. I really appreciate it. It helps me a ton. But it's enough begging here, enough getting on my knees. I'm on my knees right now. Literally on my knees right now asking you to subscribe. But anyway, stay blessed, stay happy. See you guys all in the next one, I hope. And most importantly, stay safe out there. It's a dangerous world.